I wonder if this is the address.
Hey, welcome to my house.
Oh, hey there, Stephanie.
Hello.
So, Stephanie, what's your project about?
Project is about pesticides affecting organisms and their environment.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, very.
So why is your project important or relevant?
My project is important and relevant because our food is sprayed with pesticides.
So what are pesticides?
Pesticides basically help repel pests from plants or foods so that they don't get eaten or have any disease on them.
So why are pesticides being used for?
Pesticides are being used because they prevent disease and they help control the cultivation of plants.
Oh, ew, that was news to me. What kinds of pesticides are there?
There are 5 types of pesticides. The first one, antimicrobial. The second one, fungicide, rodenticide, herbicide, and insecticide. Alright, come on out. I'm gonna pass you on to my good friend Luce.
Hey, Steph.
Hey, bro.
Oh, hey, Luz.
Hey.
How does it affect organisms like animals, plants, and humans?
The impact is very extensive, so it can have an indirect or direct application. Indirect by eating the organism that was exposed to the pesticides, and directly is like, oh, maybe they were sprayed with the pesticides or chemicals.
Which has an immediate effect.
Insecticide because it affects insects, nervous and brain system.
How does an attack on the nervous system for us look like?
Well, it can range to small to a big problem because small, like we can have a gradual loss of function, but big to a health leading problem like a stroke.
Which pesticide is commonly used?
The most commonly used pesticide is herbicides. This is the end for my questions. Here's my friend Excel, and she's going to take over.
Hello. So I am an expert at this, I guess. So one of the questions asked is why are the herbicides commonly used? They're commonly used because they kill the unwanted plants and they leave the crops that we need and what we consume unharmed. This way we can increase crops a lot more and help the environment.
Do they present any chronic risks?
Yes, because if there's an ongoing exposure to this type of the pesticide, it can cause cancer, Parkinson's disease, and infertility.
How can pesticides spread from the farms or land use?
They spread from farms and lands by water, air, and animals.
Actually, if you're driving by farmland, you know, there's always going to be overspray. Like, for instance, people will ask us about the honey, if it's organic. It's very hard to have purely organic honey because bees can fly 3 miles in any direction from their hives. So unless you own all that land and it's all organic, you have to figure that your bees could be going into places where there has been spraying and they could be exposed to pesticides. And that's the scariest thing about pesticides is what it's doing to bees, and bees are so important in food production.
We can wash some of the pesticides off of the fruits, but because some of the fruits actually absorb them, we cannot fully wash them, so they stay and we consume them, eventually leading to some kind of harmful disease towards us humans.
I mean, the nice thing about citrus is you can take the peel off. It's not like a strawberry where it's going straight in. That's always more of a concern. At least this, or, you know, like an apple, you can peel the apple and whatnot. But yeah, berries, it just probably absorbs right in there.
Other benefits to using pesticides?
Well, there's a few benefits that it's like decreasing the amount of insects that eat the plants, and and therefore like increasing crops and foods for all of us. My friend Brista isn't here, but here's a quick video about her questions.
Wait a minute.
I'm right here.
Okay. Are there other general concerns about the use of pesticides for the environment?
Yes, because it can contaminate things like the water, the soil, turf, and it can kill insects, which are beneficial to our ecosystem, and other animals like birds or fish.
Are some people at higher risks from pesticides than others?
It all depends on how long you're exposed to it. Like, let's say you live next to a field where you use those pesticides. By inhaling it over a long period of time, it can affect you.
How can you mitigate the problem of using pesticides?
We can mitigate the problem by shopping locally, like your farmer's market, or growing your own little food in your backyard. This way you're in charge of what you're growing and you know what you're putting into your stomach.
Definitely shopping at the farmer's market is a good step in the right direction, because most people, even if they're not organic, they're not using sprays and pesticides for the most part. There are sprays and pesticides that are organic that you can use. They can be pretty gnarly, but they are still, you know, okay to use for organic stuff. So the thing to do is just talk to your growers and find out what they use. That's one reason why I like the market, because you develop a relationship with the people that are feeding you. We have a little flexibility that the grocery store doesn't, but grocery stores are getting better. They're getting more organic produce. Sometimes you can find Tutti Frutti heirloom tomatoes at Vaughn's. So Vaughn's in particular tries to buy locally grown heirloom, organic produce, which is nice. Ultimately, that's what we want to see, is everybody having organic stuff. But I still think the farmer's market is the best place. It's going to be the freshest.
What would some limitations be to your solution?
Some limitations would be like, if you do shop at the farmer's market, we don't know really if they could be lying to us and they do spray with chemicals. For example, one of the ladies there that we interviewed, she did say that now there's a law that they have to spray their oranges because there's been a migration of diseases.
Are there current technologies that can be used in a creative way to solve the problem?
Currently, I believe that there are these things called hydroponics, and they're supposed to grow food without soil, which is supposed to be a lot cleaner than growing them in a field. Okay guys, so this is the end of the video. I hope you guys liked it. I learned a little bit about pesticides. I hope you guys make better decisions about what you eat, and I'll show you the way out. Bye.